Just earlier in the live stream, it said, "Dude, try it at Amber Lake. It's supposed to be running really well again there, on lemon." Yeah, I honestly don't even remember anymore who exactly wrote that in the live stream chat today, but it said, "The lemon is running really well again at Amber Lake." Yeah, and of course I'm testing it. We are right now in the morning hours into the evening hours, or rather already late at night. I also tried a bit earlier. However, at the beginning, of course, completely without any ground bait mix. And now that I know that even without ground bait carp do come in here from time to time, now we are of course doing the whole thing properly, meaning with ground bait here at this spot. However, I still need to test that properly first. First of all, the distance, meaning how far are we casting out here? And then of course also the bait combination. So the question is, does this even work here with this simple, basic bait combination with just the simple lemon corn kernel? That's how it looks right now. So, at the moment, not really a whole lot yet. Sure, it was night, and at night, there is usually a bit less going on anyway. And as I just said, without ground bait, and now, right now, in combination with the ground bait mix, it already seems to be picking up a bit again. Now, the question, of course, is whether the ground bait spot has already influenced things a bit. Maybe there are fewer common carp here now, and instead more mirror carp at the spot. That can absolutely be the case, depending on what kind of ground bait mix you use, or rather which base you use in that ground bait mix. So let's see how this develops further here. I think I'll cast out 2 or 3 more times with ground bait. Then I'll have roughly 160 grams to 180 grams of ground bait here on the spot. And that should be enough for the beginning. Yeah, I would say after that, I'll remove the ground baiter right away. So at the moment, I'm clipped to 9 meters. 9 meters, because we are still relatively shallow here in this close range area, and then it drops off sharply further out. We'll take a closer look at that on the map in a moment. And that means I could theoretically fish multiple spots here at the same time or one after the other. Meaning, if you fish right here in front, in the range of 6, 7, 8 meters, right here by the water lilies, and after about an hour, the bite frequency maybe drops off, then you can simply cast out to 10 meters at the same spot. Then you're already in a completely different area, and maybe you still have the chance that it keeps working there with the same setup. And if that then stops working again, you can cast out even further, maybe towards 15 meters. So basically throwing towards the trees over there. And ideally it keeps working there as well. And when you arrive at the last spot, the first spot in front might already be active again. After about 2 hours of real life, spots that you have fished empty usually reactivate. So let's see right away what still comes in here. And the ones we don't want, well, we obviously don't want those. And how things continue here, I'll first rebuild the setup a bit, or rather remove the feed, and then we'll see what else comes in. Yeah, that's what they were also saying in the chat just now. There are always rare carp coming in here from time to time, and that would obviously be really interesting if now even more of those rare ghost common carp, for example, would come in here. Why not? I'll gladly take more of those. But first things first, PVA off, and then I'll actually completely rebuild another setup right away. Because in terms of ground bait and bait combinations, you can do a lot more than just lemon corn. That's already a pretty good indicator to test a spot. Basically, if you don't know whether something works, just go with a pop-up rig corn kernel. Super simple. Just use the corn and then test different flavors. And the flavor that delivers the most or the fastest results, well, that flavor obviously works at that spot. And based on that, you can then expand things further using boilies or completely different rig types. And this is also where an important piece of information from the last RF4 Q&A comes in. Fish don't just have like factors for different flavors, they also have like factors for rig types. That means it can absolutely happen that a snowman rig works better than a pop-up rig. So accordingly, we need to regularly test the different rig types here as well. For the bait lemon, there aren't many big entries in the records at the moment, you mostly see fruity flavors trending towards blackcurrant. That is also something we could try right here at the same spot. The position here should be well known by now. One of the most important spots, especially for everyone who likes to fish for carp with the telescopic rod. Because if we zoom in a bit here, we can see that exactly in this area, right in the close range shoreline area, there is an immediate drop off, so it goes straight down into deeper water. And that means we can stand on this little peninsula, this small ledge, and get even closer. And theoretically, we can already fish for carp really well here with the telescopic rod. Or of course, as a bottom angler, simply lay out the baits right here in the close range. And as already mentioned, if the spot eventually gets tired, you just cast further out, either directly into the deeper area right in front here, or a bit further into this edge zone. So let's keep going here. I'm curious what else will come in. I'm gonna rebuild both setups now, and we'll just leave the middle one exactly as it is. So lemon is the overall theme, and we'll take a look at the ground bait mix for lemon in a moment. For lemon, of course, we can also use boilies, and here we have the juicy lemon. I'll take size 18, not too huge, and of course lemon as corn as well. The whole thing goes out again loosely to 8 meters, to the same spot where the feed already is. And the next setup we'll rebuild with a different rig, namely the classic hair rig. That's the first one you unlock in the game. Here we go with 2 sinking boilies. We also use the juicy lemon size 18, and because we don't want to use the same boilie again, we take lime instead of lemon. Here we have lime size 20, but I'll start with lime size 16 first, just to test whether it even gets accepted. So first test with smaller boilies, and if that works really well, I'll of course switch to the larger boilie version. Again, loosely cast out, same clip as before. And here we already have the first result on the boilie combination. So that's already being accepted. That's a good sign. And it continues here as well. Yeah. Small bait, smaller fish. That's unavoidable when you're using such a small setup. Just size 1 hook, corn kernel. But that's exactly right if you want to go for numbers. 1 fish after another, and at the same time push your bottom fishing percentage. So straight back out again. Yeah, and now it's time to keep testing here and see whether this also works with the other rig types. As I said, you always have to test this because fish preferences change. In the meantime, let's take another look at the ground bait mix. So how is the ground bait composed? Dry ground bait mix, or you simply form it into balls as feed. And especially in this close range, you can easily throw it in by hand. No need for PVA or a spam rocket. I used wheat bran as the base. You can add a lot of variation here, whether it's peas or corn influences which fish species are more present at the spot. So definitely play around with that. Test it for about an hour, then after a short break, use a slightly different ground bait mix with a different base. Since I started here with corn, I obviously also included corn as a component. Then I only added feed pellets once and only from this one flavor, so just lemon feed pellets. And then twice crushed boilies, once crushed lemon boilie and once crushed lime boilie. That gives you larger particles in the ground bait mix, and larger particles attract larger fish. The whole thing, of course, with lemon flavoring, and then it goes into the water or into the PVA. Well, look at that. With this boilie combination, it really seems to work quite well. The combination of size 18 lemon and lemon corn kernel is really nice. I'll happily take that. Lemon was a very, very important bait for me a few years ago. I could push my level really well with it, always moving from one spot to the next here at Amber Lake, steadily gaining XP throughout the day. So that's how it looks at the moment. Right now it's okay. It's not the absolute ultimate bait yet, but the good thing is it does seem to work. And with that, I'll keep testing a bit more. So I'll keep playing around a bit. On the one hand with the ground bait mix, and on the other hand with the distances, and ideally also at other spots. The absolute classics here around 35 meters, maybe even again in the close range near the village. Or down at the pier, which has also been working again recently. So just test the classic spots again, also with lemon. Thanks for sharing the information in the live stream. That always helps a lot. I'm always happy to test things like that. If you have spot information like that, feel free to write it in the comments. I always like checking that out. If you liked it, leave a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. That really helps me. And then I'll see you in the next video. Until then, tight lines.